Today we're talking about a 6'8 forward out of ECU who can just bring a ton to the table. He can score the ball in isolation, he can get to the rim with ease, and he is just a matchup problem on both ends of the court. Big name schools are going to be all over him, so get ready. The Ezra Ausar breakdown starts now. Welcome back to the Transfer Portal Spotlight. Today we are talking Ezra Ausar, who is one of the more intriguing prospects we're going to have talked about through this entire series. So he brings a lot to the table. Just transparently, he is a big, big undersized forward, if that makes sense. So he is able to impact the game in a lot of ways, both on offense and on defense. He's coming from East Carolina University, where he's had a pretty productive 2 years, has, played a lot of that post-up spot for ECU. But before we get too far ahead of ourselves, let's just back it up for a second and talk about the overall season that he had last year. He was, like I said, super productive. So 11.4 points per game, 4.7 rebounds. Was an effective shooter. He did not shoot a lot from three, so don't get too hyped up by that 37.5% from three. It was on a limited amount of shots, and we'll go into that later. And he also shared the ball a decent amount, which is something you like to see. A big who can at least pass the ball somewhat regularly is always something you want to see on your offense. Now, there's going to be a few different areas we cover about his game. He is versatile in how he finishes and how he impacts the game. He hasn't really shown the ability to shoot all that much yet, although we will see that. So we're going to see a little bit of his shooting. We're going to see him on defense and how he can alter shots at the rim. We're going to talk a bit around, his ability just to finish athletically with dunks and with some nice layups. But I want to start off with something that's just sneakily good and that just popped off the page when I started looking at his stats. And that's the fact that he can finish extremely well in ISO. So if he just, is able to get his man into a one-on-one game, he can consistently win. And we'll get into that right now, show you a clip package of just Ezra working exclusively out of ISO. So when you watch him in transition and in isolation, he is just such a threat with the ball. He handles it so well, especially for a forward of his size. He can just make things happen. And I think so much of that can just be attributed to he has an insanely quick first step. He can jab, and get his defender off balance and then attack the rim and finish, athletically, while also creating space, which is just something that I really love to see. He was, he graded out extremely well. It was on a lower sample size, to be sure, but on a point per possession basis, he was like 99th percent. I don't think that holds up on more volume necessarily, but I think when you have him at the 4 or even at the 5 in situations as a small ball 5, he just creates such a matchup problem that I don't really know how other teams would solve for that. And I think there's so much room for him to get better, having multiple years to build on this skill set, that he'll make the jump to playing higher level competition fairly decently. So a lot to love about this part of his game, and just love the handle that he's developed. Next, we're going to take a look at Ausar's ability to just be a catch and shoot guy to a certain extent. Now, some of these are going to be threes, but also you're going to see some clips of him catching the ball, from the short corner, high post, and making it work from that way as well. But he has shown he can be capable, and he put a decent amount of this on film last year. So with that being said, let's go ahead and check out the clips on that. Now, if you're looking for an area for him to grow his game and just get a little bit better, it's certainly going to be on his jump shot. He didn't take a lot. He shot like 40% from three or something like that, but, it was a low volume. He looks to have a little bit of happy feet when he catches the ball. So, I don't know if it's from not being confident as a catch and shoot guy or just wanting to go to his strength more and attack off the dribble. But he has decent enough form, something that I think can be used as a change of pace and as a counter move to guys trying to play him too aggressively on the drive. But all in all, definitely a room for growth for him. I want to talk now about something he's able to do that few other players can, or you have to be extremely blessed to be able to do so, and that's just impact the game athletically. To finish at the rim at a high level, to rise up and throw some dunks down in transition. He does all of those things extremely well. It's a facet to his game that really intrigues me. I love having a big who can get out and run the way he does. I love having a big that can finish the way that he does and handle it in transition like he does regularly. So Take a look at this clip package and just pay attention to those aspects. So just watch how he runs and handles the ball. And as always, I'll provide some narration over top of it. If I'm playing a undersized big man that doesn't shoot the ball particularly well, I really want them to be athletic and to impact the game in other areas of the offense. And this is kind of what I'm envisioning. So I want someone who can grab a rebound and take off and have some handles, and he's able to do that very well. I want someone that's going to be able to run the court in transition really hard and make the right reads on cuts and just get to the rim. And that's certainly what he does. I mean, he's able to get to the rim. He finishes aggressively. He can throw down two hands really easy. I think with guards that'll get him in good positions regularly, he's going to reward them with an assist because he's sure-handed and he goes up to the rim really hard. Love the athleticism that he brings to the table overall. Now, lastly, I want to talk about defense with him because he is a bit undersized. He's 6'8", but he's a stout 6'8", 6'8", 250. But again, kind of undersized. So sometimes when a big is undersized like that, you have a tendency to think, oh, well, can he play defense at the rim? Can he alter shots? And from my experience watching film, he didn't block shots at a high rate, but he can definitely do it. So we have a few examples lined up where you're going to see him contesting at the rim, altering shots and making things difficult for the opposing offense. Let's take a look at those now. Now, I want to be clear. I don't think that, he's someone that had a ton of blocks last year, is on the radar as just being this rim protector extraordinaire. But I do think that from the clips that I've saw, and specifically these that I selected, he really can impact the game by walling up at the rim and jumping up and keeping verticality. He did it a lot, apparently, from what I can see. He has the ability to do so at the very least. So just love that, he's able to do that as an undersized big and can rely a bit on his athleticism, can alter plays, can get you, easy opportunities going the other way because he's able to impact, the offense in this manner. So I think it makes him a more valuable overall team fit and much better of an addition. And that's going to do it for our film room on Ezra Ausar. So he is extremely versatile. He handles the ball well in transition. He can be a huge factor at the rim. He is someone that I'm just extremely comfortable with putting his head down and attacking, more so than a lot of guards even, given the matchups that he's going to have on him. I think there is some room for him to develop, being a guy who has a couple of years of eligibility left. There's areas that he can just get better on over time. He might not have to be the guy or even a key contributor right away, but he certainly has the talent to step in and fill that role if need be. But, he's definitely going to be someone that's going to be a contributor down the line. And I would be very, very excited just on his potential framework and abilities and everything he brings to the table. So drop a comment, put a prediction where he's ending up going to go. I know he's going to be on visits over the next week or so, but I appreciate everyone being here. Thank you so much for watching. Again, I always ask this at the end of every video, but if you liked this or saw some things that you were able to take away from this video, like and subscribe. It really helps me out, extends the reach, puts me in front of other folks that want to learn about basketball. And, that's the only reason I do this. So appreciate you guys, and I'll see you on the next one.